Then let's start off with the latest information which Nigerians have been looking forward to, because as part of the palliatives by the federal government to help cushion the effects of fuel subsidy removal and the subsequent impact on food commodities, President Bola Tinubu has approved the implementation of 0% duty rate and value-added tax exemption on basic food items like maize, husked brown rice, wheat, grain, beans, and millet. Following the approval, the Customs Service said it had begun the implementation from July the 15th and is to last till December the 31st. According to the federal government, the measure is geared towards ameliorating the high cost of food items in the Nigerian market and shall be limited to the national supply gap to be determined by the committee set up by the minister. Quite an interesting development, Olamide, because, few weeks back, or let me say about a month or 2 months ago, where the federal government said they will remove they will have to place implementation of 0% duty rate and value-added tax exemption on the basic food items due to the food crisis, because, we just witnessed, some, I won't say successful protests, maybe botched protests or, nearly unsuccessful protests. But then there was something of a registration of Nigerian sentiments towards the current administration or current security situations and food insecurity that they're facing, that we are not happy with what is going on. But the federal government said, listen, I'm all ears, I'm actually with you, and we have to ensure that Nigerians get better. But we have policies that we're implementing. It's going to be hard, but definitely things will be better. That's the reason why they're implementing the 0% duty rate and value-added tax exemption on the basic food items like maize, husked brown rice, wheat, grain, beans, and millet, and so on and so forth. I mean,
it's a great one for those persons who, may have argued that some of the policies of this government have not, reached the average Nigerians. But policies like this, and especially the implementation, obviously will have a ripple effect, will have a positive effect on Nigerians. I recall the protest, some of the protesters says it was a way of, registering, their concerns about the hunger currently in the country. And so this will be a great move. It's also going to lead to reduction of food prices. If you go to the market, for those who have gone for a market survey, you see that the prices of rice, the prices of beans, and probably onions, some other food items have drastically reduced. And I think to an extent, this would also, help farmers who want to import other items like fertilizers and other, raw materials that they will need for farming. It will also increase food availability in most part of the country. I mean, when we can tackle food, I guess we should be able to tackle other issues affecting, the economy.
And I think we should exercise some caution, because we have been talking about production. We have been talking about farming. Why do we have to go outside to bring, food from outside? Because we know that Nigeria is actually import-dependent economy, and that has been affecting and causing a lot of strains on the foreign exchange that we have. But if you look at the activities of some markets or some marketers, the way they hoard some of this produce, they do not actually allow it to get into the market for people to buy. Some indiscriminately increase or jack up the price of food items and all of that. And I believe that, this stopgap measure will definitely reduce the impact of, the fuel crisis, the food crisis, and then the removal of fuel subsidy. But we have to also be careful, because some might seize the opportunity to start bringing in, inferior goods, inferior food items, which in the long run might affect the health of Nigerians. So the federal government needs to, because those are some of the issues. If you look at the maize, millet, rice, wheat, husked brown rice, grain, sorghum, and beans, the effective, the policy is effective from July the 15th, 2024 to 31st of December the 31st, 2024. Yes. That's about, approximately 6 months, just 180 days or thereabout. And then that committee that is set up by the minister will now determine the national supply gap for these items. So it's one thing to bring these items into the country. It's another thing to ensure that the supply gap is tailored towards it reaching all nooks and crannies of the country where we have people who are really in need. Who else is not even in need of these food items? But they should be very careful so that we do not reduce the intention, or we do not, it does not work against the intention of having to have a lot of produce in the country, farming and all of that. And this will definitely crash the price of food items in the country. You know,
as regards your concern about importation of inferior goods into the country, I mean, Nigeria is not only the only country, relying on imports. But this is where enforcement, implementation, and other factors come in. That's why there is a committee to ensure that that is put in place. When we have, a time, it's expected to take effect from July 15 to December 31. This will give the federal government ample time to, decide on what should be brought in, how it should be brought in, and how it should spread across.
All right, we'll see how this definitely pan out at the end of the day. But